Good morning, good afternoon and good evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to Danny's Detours, where we talk about anything and everything life related, and consciousness is our canvas. Welcome back to the channel, guys, and I'm out and about again. You already know the score, with my two favourite compadres, Paddy and Willow. Yeah, and today we are going to be talking about, are you a chosen one? We'll get somewhere nice and comfy to sit down in this long grass. Here we go. Oh, yeah, there we go, guys. And yeah, hello, Paddy. Basically what I've done there, guys, I don't even know what I've done. I pressed record, but I'm still getting used to this new GoPro. But obviously, oh God, I've got is that a tick? No, it's a leaf. Thought that was a tick then. But yeah, I filmed about 10 minutes of a video then, and you know what, we'll lie down. And yeah, basically, I don't know. So anyway, that doesn't really matter. But yeah, are you a chosen one? And what do I mean by that, guys? Because at the end of the day, right, we are all chosen. But some, obviously, you know, we're all here for a certain specific reason. Because when we come into this life, we took out a soul contract. You know, we chose these lives, believe it or not, whether they be good or whether they be bad, you know. And it's just something to think about. But what do I mean by that? And I was just discussing this on my other video that didn't record. Hey, Paddy. Hello, mate. And yeah, like, it always goes back to when I was 8 years old and I had meningitis, and I remember that process very, 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 like, you know, I always look back to that day and I think to myself, wow, you know, why was I saved? Because obviously, I don't know if any of you are aware, or any new subscribers, some are aware who've watched my other older videos. I had meningococcal septicemia, which basically is, you know, most people who get that, they die from it, or they end up like maimed, like losing limbs, or they end up, you know, not the same mentally, you know, they end up like brain damage and stuff like that. And I always look back to that day and think to myself, how lucky was I, you know? But then I think to myself, that did I have to go through that, or go through all that episode, you know, in order to ascend or make me a better, I don't know. But yeah, it always gets me thinking that, guys, and makes me think, you know, I always think, well, why was I saved? Because basically the doctors turned around and said to my mum and dad, you know, he's got a 99% chance he's not going to make it. But I always look back and think to myself, you know, I was divinely protected. But then again, I always feel as though I have been divinely protected in a lot of many ways, in certain aspects that have happened in my life through certain events. But yeah, just a few things to think about. But put down in the comments, guys, like, because when I say like when I talk about chosen ones, I mean, like, we have a unique ability of picking up on people's energy. Like, we can walk into a room, and I know obviously there's many other chosen ones out there in terms, you know, like, I'm not saying this in a sense where like, oh, I'm better than everyone, because it's not about that. It's about picking up on people's energy and frequency, and being able to read people without even talking to them. You know, I can walk into a room and I can just, it's weird, and it's sort of like, I'll get it sometimes, and I always think to myself, why was I always attacked by certain people or bullied? You know, I know obviously we all go through these situations, but it's kind of like they see something in you subconsciously or on an energetic level that they can't even explain, and then they decide to like just attack it. Or because a lot of the times it's like your light is shining on their darkness, or you're like exposing them to be who they are, and they don't feel very let's just say they don't feel very comfortable with it, and obviously you're just being you. But yeah, it's just I just find it very interesting. But yeah, put in the comments, guys, have you had any experiences of this? Like, you know, can you pick up on people's energy, or not even so much that, but like, you know, I think what it is it's all Be nice, you two. It's about spiritual energy and stuff like that as well. And I don't even mean that in a sense that, oh yeah, come by all sitting with my legs crossed and stuff like that, because it's not even about that. It goes on a deeper soul level, and you'll know if you are, or if you've had these experiences. You just know. Do you know what I mean? But put down in the comments, you know, have you had any experiences like this? Have you had situations in your life, or have you walked into rooms and it's all gone quiet and people just sort of like look at you, but it's kind of like they're not looking at you because of how you look, it's your energy, or there's something about you that they just can't quite put their finger on or explain. Yeah, I just find stuff like that very, very interesting. But yeah, I'm just chilling out in the grass today, guys. Got my doggies. And it's an absolutely fantastic day. They've been spraying us again, which, you know, there's no surprise because it's a nice day. But listen, it is what it is. We can't control that, can we, guys? But yeah, just put down in the comments and let me know. Are you a chosen one? Or have you had experiences? Or do you know anybody? Could be anything, guys, you know. Just interact with the video and let me know. Because I just find it very, 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 very fascinating. Because, like, I always look back to the past. And I've had situations where I've known certain people, and I always believe I've had this like unique ability of like that allowing or letting, not letting people, but people sort of like just open up to me, and they'll tell me their deepest, darkest secrets, not even just through me being there in my presence of how I am with my energy and how I am, because I've always been like a very calm, relaxed person, and I feel as though I've got this ability to allow or let people open up to me, because I'm not a judgmental person. I never have been a judgmental, but even like, you know, I've known a lot of even like I've seen like heroin addicts and stuff like that in the past. I've seen different varieties of people and situations, guys, and I've never looked at people and thought to myself like, oh well, oh look at him, or because at the end of the day we're all on our certain specific journeys, and maybe you took out that soul contract in order for you to feel that pain, in order for you to go there and because a lot of the time, guys, you know, we go through these situations in life for deep healing. Like, we need to go through that pain and that trauma in order for our souls on a deeper level to allow us to heal. You know, like I've done it with the drugs and you know, other things, the gambling. Like, I was gambling for a long time, and I was literally, you know, I was like, I'll be honest with you guys, I was suicidal, but there was always something inside me that was just like, no, you can't do it. And I like, don't get me wrong, I felt really bad and down, but I don't think I would ever get to a point where I could do something like that, because it's just, there's just something in me that's just like, no, just keep going. And, you know, I have had out with people in the past with things like that, like my mum and other people, you know, family members, whatever, my wife and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just interesting to think. But I always believe that I've had to go through these trials, tribulations in my life in order to ascend and become a healer and help people and talk about these things, because it's very important that we are aware of these things. But yeah, I always go back to that day when I got meningitis, and I'll never forget that stranger who we'd never seen before. And back then, you knew everybody, even like homeless people and stuff like that. And he literally come out of nowhere. So who's to say that he was a guardian angel that morning? And he asked my mum for money, and my mum said, no, but I can bring you a flask of tea. And then he said, oh, God bless you. And that was the day when I went to school. I started projectile vomiting. I had to go home. I laid down on a settee, and I remember waking up like a week later, learning how to walk. I couldn't even walk. I had to learn how to walk again because I got my meningitis. But yeah, just a few things to think about there, guys. About, you know, let me know, are you a chosen one? Do you think you're a chosen one? Do you know anyone who's a chosen one? We're all chosen, guys, but just on a deeper level, you'll know and understand what I'm talking about. Put it down in the comments and let me know, interact with the video. But yeah, for me, Danny, Detours, Paddy and Willow, hope you have a fantastic day, and don't forget to follow me on all my socials, which are down below in the description. Have a fantastic day. Get out in the sunny weather today, guys, because it's absolutely fantastic. Apart from all these reptiles that are spraying us in the sky, ignore that. You concentrate on becoming the best version of yourself, because you already are great. You are amazing. Love you loads. Peace.